I am Supreme, and today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on Terry Leanne Missy Bevers, who goes by the name of Missy Bevers. Missy Bevers was a 45-year-old fitness instructor who was murdered on April the 18th, 2016, inside Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, Texas. As of December 2025, which is today is December the 26th, 2025, her murder remains unsolved. So, Missy Bevers arrived at the church around 4:18 a.m. to prepare for an early morning Camp Gladiator fitness class. She was later found dead by one of her students. An autopsy revealed she died from puncture wounds to her head and chest. The suspect. Surveillance footage captured an individual inside the church approximately 30 minutes before Bevers arrived. The suspect was dressed in full police-style tactical gear, including a helmet, vest, and gloves. The suspect exhibited a highly unique gait or limp, which has been a primary focus of forensic analysis and public interest. Despite this, investigators have not been able to definitively confirm the suspect's gender, height, or identity. I watched numerous podcasts and interviews on this case. I watched the surveillance footage over and over and over. I saw everything that I'm explaining, and I'm going to show you what I found in the charts. Because me watching all those podcasts gave me energy as well. So the police believe Bevers may have been specifically targeted rather than the victim of a random act. Over the years, they have investigated more than 3,000 tips, analyzed thousands of pieces of digital evidence, and sought a vehicle of interest. I saw the vehicle that they are sorting for interest. A silver Nissan Altima seen in a nearby parking lot shortly before the crime. I did see that vehicle on surveillance footage when I watched different interviews and podcasts and different people having different knowledge and understanding of this case. Pictures, surveillance footages. So normally, before I come on here and do a case, I normally spend the previous 24 hours researching information online, Google, YouTube. I look up the news coverage of that crime, social medias. If they have social media pages, I explore their pages, all of that. So by now, I'm full of the energy of this case. So it's going to be easy for me to pull cards, as is always easy for me to pull cards. Now, community efforts in 2025 involve the community members and the True Crime Broads. That's what they call themselves, the True Crime Broads. Podcasts held rallies and vigils to keep the case in the public eye as it nears its 10th anniversary. They're doing a good job at keeping this case in the public eye, too. You can research it for yourself. All you got to do is look up Missy Bevers, and you'll see a whole lot of coverage on that case. In April 2025, which was earlier this year, The city of Midlothian dedicated a memorial bench in her honor to mark 9 years since the tragedy. What happened to Missy Bevers? What really happened? Who was that dressed in that police gear? In front of me, I have the birth chart of Missy Bevers and I have the chart of the day she was found dead. So I'm going to pull both of those charts and I'm going to go over what I saw in the charts and then I'm going to pull cards and give Missy Bevers a voice. So Missy Bevers was born August the 9th, 1970. Oh, also, this reading was a suggestion from one of my viewers and subscribers. Shouts out to Sarah Wing G7G. Forgive me for any misspellings or mispronunciations. I do appreciate when my subscribers and viewers suggest content. And as you see, I do add them to my itinerary. So Missy Bevers was born August the 9th, 1970. On that day, the sun was in Leo and the moon was in Scorpio. And y'all know how I formulate time. Sun divided by moon cycles. So when you put a Scorpio moon in Leo season, which is the 5th house, Cancer is rising. This is Missy Bevers' birth chart. This is a 4th house chart because Cancer comes first, and Cancer is the 4th sign of the zodiac. It is the 4th energy in us. It is the energy of home, family, and the mother. It is our domestic energy. So Missy Bevers has a domestic chart. Could this have been a domestic case? We don't know. We're going to get to that. However, like I always tell you, you can't look in the birth chart to determine a death or a disappearance. But you can look in the birth chart to determine the starting point of death, disappearance, or whatever the case involves. Even if it involved her family, we can look in the chart to see the starting point of this family member, family issue, family person, place, or thing. So in Miss Beaver's house of death, because we know she's dead, in her house of death, which is the 8th house, I see Aquarius. Aquarius represents the group, the organization, members of a group, membership. Could this be a member of the church? We don't know. We're going to find out. Once I pull the death chart, it's going to elaborate on the birth chart. The death chart always elaborates on the birth chart because the birth chart is the starting point. The death chart is the climax, what it led up to, which formulates the story. Now let's pull her death chart so you'll understand what I'm talking about. She was found dead April the 18th, 2016. On that day, the sun was in Aries and the moon was in Virgo. And when you put a Virgo moon in Aries house, which is the 1st house, Virgo comes first. This is a 6th house chart. And if y'all know anything about the 6th house chart, which you should, because you should have been looking at my Astro Oracle tutorial that I link in the description of all of my readings in the bottom. It is a video that will give you the general meaning of all the signs, all the house numbers, and all the planets that you will ever hear me talk about in any of my charts or pull in any of my cards. It gives you a general meaning. It is a timestamp tutorial too. You don't have to watch the entire video. You can go there and click on any sign that you hear me talk about. So the 6th house is the chart of the work ethic. She was in the middle of working and exercising. That is Virgo energy. That is the 6th house. Fitness is the 6th house. Exercise, working out. She was a fitness instructor. So this case, this crime took place in the 6th house, as you see. And it's already been confirmed that she died in a sixth house energy. Okay? Now, if you look in the sixth house, what do you see? Aquarius. Aquarius, in her birth chart, is what started the death. That is the starting point of death. The ending point is in the sixth house, where she actually died. You see how I tell you the crime chart or the death chart always elaborates on the birth chart. It never fails. It gives you information, etheric information. Once you understand the signs and the whole circles of life, you can formulate the story. Now, this is what I saw, right? Just by following Virgo first, because Virgo came first, right? Virgo. Somebody in that local environment. It could have been one of the students as well. It could have been one of the students or somebody that was with a student. It could also have been somebody as a member of that church. And I'm going to show you where I saw that at. Because Virgo comes first, and because the moon was actually in Virgo that day, y'all know I follow the moon as well first. The moon was in Virgo that day. Virgo comes first, right? Now, Missy Bevers' moon is in Scorpio. Look where Scorpio is at, in the third house. Somebody in that local environment. This is Gemini's house, but Scorpio is there. Scorpio represents the death, right? It's the death energy, the sex energy, and the power and control energy. Now, look at where Gemini is. Gemini is up here in the 10th house of public authority figures. Now, this Gemini individual that comes from the third house, who is the person most likely to have killed her that we seen on surveillance, was dressed up as law enforcement. This is the house of law enforcement, the 10th house. This is the house of the police. So when you look up Missy Bevers' case, you will see the surveillance footage of this individual right here. Gemini individual, Gemini energy, okay? This was somebody in a local environment. This could also be a member. Gemini represents a student. This could also have been a student dressed up as law enforcement. Gemini in the 10th house, one of the students. This could also have been one of the members of that church. And you want to know how I know that? Because look where Cancer is, in the 11th house of membership. That's Aquarius's house. Now, this means that this could be a member of her fitness group, but also it could be a member of the church. You know how I know that? Because when I look in her birth chart, the starting point, I see Gemini. This so-called student that was dressed up in law enforcement is hiding in the 12th house. This is Pisces' house. And Pisces is over here in the 9th house of church, because it happened in a church. That's why anything that will take me to the 9th house during this case, I know it has to do with the church. Because the 9th house is the house of churches. It is also the house of colleges. It's the house of higher knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It's also the house of grandparents. But being that Missy Bevers was found dead in a church, anything that would take me to the 9th house, the church part of the 9th house comes first in my mind. And that's what I feel. My intuition tells me that this is somebody from the church. Someone hiding as law enforcement. Both the moons. The moon was in Scorpio in Missy Bevers' energy, and the moon was in Virgo the day of the crime. Both moons are in the 3rd house. Look at that. In Missy's chart, you see Virgo in the third house. That's what came first the day she was found dead. The moon is Scorpio, also in the third house, the day she was found dead. This is how I know this is somebody affiliated with that church or the fitness group. One of those groups. Now, in the ninth house of churches, the day it actually happened, I see Taurus. Why is Taurus important? Because that's where Mercury was. Mercury rules the third house. So I was going to, being that both moons showed up in the third house, I'm going to naturally follow Gemini and Mercury because this is Gemini's house and this is Mercury's house. But it just so happens Scorpio and Virgo is there. Scorpio was there the day she was murdered and Virgo was there the day she was born. So it's in her natal energy. This natal energy of Virgo, this natal fitness energy of Virgo came first the day that she died. And Virgo is the sixth energy in us. It is the energy of our health and well-being and everything that involves taking care of it, which involves fitness as well and diet. And in the sixth house, you see Aquarius, which is the energy that comes from her death, the starting point. Now, in the eighth house of death, the day she actually died, I see Aries. Now, let's follow Aries to see where Aries takes us. Because we know she's dead. So we have to follow Aries. This is a fact. We know she's dead. Let's follow Aries by starting with Mars. Because Mars rules Aries. And first, let's see if there were any planets in Aries first, before we follow Mars. There were 2 planets in Aries. 3 planets in Aries the day she died. The sun, which is the most high. Uranus was also in Aries, which Uranus rules Aquarius. Because we was going to follow Uranus in her birth chart, the starting point of the death energy at birth is Aquarius. Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. But the day Missy was found dead, Uranus was in Aries. And where's Aries at? In Missy's birth energy, right there in the house of law enforcement. Right there in the 10th house of authority figures. Now let's follow Mars, because this authority figure landed in the house of death. This is the one who did it. This is the one who did it. Let's follow this assassin. Aries, when you follow Mars, Mars is in Sagittarius the day she died. Sagittarius rules the 9th house. Sagittarius rules the 9th house of church. You see Sagittarius right there in red? Taurus is there though. But this is Sagittarius' house because everything in the red represents whose house it is. And everything in black represents who's there. Now, what's Taurus doing there? Because Taurus represents money and material. Could this be somebody that took her out due to money and material involving the church? Let's look at where Taurus is in Missy's chart. Right there in the house of membership. This was a group member of the church that knows about her fitness group as well. Look at that, because in the house of membership, you see Cancer. That's Missy. That's Missy's first house. That's what comes first. Cancer. Right? Now look in the 4th house. Not in her birth. We're going to get there. But look in the 4th house of the day the day she died. Look. Sagittarius. That's where Mars was. So this could be somebody in a relationship with somebody from the church. Is this her? Or is this somebody's wife or husband? It was said that Missy Bevers was having an affair. Her husband was out of town at that time. Her husband was out of town at the time. And her husband was out of town at the time. I'm going to start shuffling my Astro Oracle. This is the OG. It's going to elaborate. This is going to clarify everything we just went over. It was said that her husband was out of town. I think he was on a fishing trip the time that she was found dead. And what made him so suspicious to police was that he didn't even ask what happened. When they called him and told him your wife was found dead at church in her fitness class, her husband didn't even ask them what happened. Why didn't he ask them what happened? If you call me and tell me my wife is dead at her fitness class, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what happened? That's a natural instinct. But that instinct didn't come so natural. Why? Because her and her husband was already at odds with each other. But he told them that they were fine. The husband told law enforcement that they were fine. But other sources that know for a fact that they weren't fine came to the forefront. They were not fine. They were not fine. Missy was having an affair and the husband knew it. And he came forward with it. He came forward with the fact that he knows that she was having an affair. He knows she was having an affair. So could this have been the wife of the man that Missy was messing around with? That's a part of that church. Somebody that knows about what happened to Missy is a part of that church. I don't care what nobody say. And if they know about that fitness class. That's what I saw. But I see that even without the charts. It's just the charts confirm it. That's common sense to me. It's a part of the church. Somebody that's a part of the church. Now, also get this. They also tried to suspect her husband's father. You know why? Because her husband's father walks just like the person on the surveillance footage that they know did it. Because the person that was on surveillance footage, they broke into that church at 3:50 a.m. This was all on surveillance. And they had a weapon in their hand. And they was walking around that church before Missy even arrived at 4:20. She arrived. 4:16, but she walked into the church at 4:20. But the burglar had already been in there for 20 whole minutes. 30 minutes. Breaking shit. Opening up doors. Walking around, lurking around. So we know that's the person that did it. The person that was dressed up as the police. Why is the police breaking into a church, breaking windows? So they're saying that was somebody dressed in a costume. That wasn't even a real police costume, according to law enforcement. Could have fooled me. I'm going to pull 4 cards. 4 cards on Missy Bevers, who was born August 9th, 1970, who died April 18th, 2016. What happened? And who did this to Missy Bevers? Even if she don't know who did it, because the person was masked. Even if she don't know. I'm tapped into the energy. And the ancestors are going to assist me. The ancestors are the planets. They always assist me, regardless of the people. Because a lot of times, people don't know who did it. But the ancestors always know. I am a high-ranking Astro Oracle psychic. And you're about to witness a high-ranking Astro Oracle reading. I'm going to pull 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. Look at that. You can't make that up. You can't make that up. I shuffled the hell out that deck. You cannot make that up. Now, look what came out. Look what came out. Sagittarius. That person came out right there. That person. Where was Sagittarius at? So this is somebody. Look, right there in the 6th house. Right? Right there in the 6th house. That's the house that Missy died in. She was murdered in the 6th house. Look at that. Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules the 9th house. Remember I told you that. See Sagittarius right there in red? That's church. The 9th house is church. Pisces is there. Pisces rules the 12th house. What's in the 12th house? This student. This person. Gemini energy in the that was hiding in the local environment. Right there. Right there. Now, look at this. Aquarius, it came out in reverse too. Aquarius, right there, the house of death. This place. Right there in the 6th house. The person broke in. That's why Aquarius came out in reverse. They weren't supposed to be there at that place. That's why Aquarius came out in reverse. If they were already in there, this would have came upright. Now, Scorpio came out upright. Scorpio is where Missy's moon was. And Scorpio, the day that it happened, was right there in the 3rd house. That's Gemini's house. This Scorpio person and this Sagittarius person, now this could be 2 people. It's coming to me. This could be 2 people. However, Mars, which rules Aries, the day she died, Mars was in Sagittarius right here, the person who did it. Okay? And like I told you, this was the assassin, the person who did it. Let's follow the assassin to elaborate on who this person is. Mars that day is right here in Sagittarius, right? Mars also rules Scorpio, but Pluto rules Scorpio first. And Missy's Pluto is in Virgo. And Pluto, the day she died, was in Capricorn. Capricorn rules the 10th house. That's the energy of law enforcement, the authority. But Capricorn is also the father figure. Let's follow this Capricorn individual. This Scorpio person is also somebody that she could have been messing around with them. Or this is a person who knows a secret about Missy. Because Scorpio came out in the 3rd house of information. And when Scorpio is in the 3rd house of information, it represents secret information. Now, this place, Scorpio came out as a place in reverse. Because we don't know where this person came from. Right? That's why. Because they broke in. Now, where was Scorpio at in Missy's birth? Right there in the 5th house. That's Leo's house. And Mars, which is the assassin, was in Missy's Leo energy. You see that? Mars was right here. This is somebody that Missy was fooling around with. This is either that person or that person's wife. Because they don't know if the person on the footage was a male or female. What this is showing me, okay, is that this was somebody that Missy was in a relationship with. This is somebody that Missy was in a sexual relationship with. Somebody that she was having an affair with. And her husband did know that she was having an affair. I'm going to let Missy pull a chart. That she was having an affair with. Okay? Somehow, well, of course, when you have an affair and shit like that goes, it never ends well. Okay? So, this is definitely somebody that I see she was having an affair with. Now, in the 5th house, in Leo's house, the day she was murdered, I see Capricorn, the father, again. This represents the father of her children. But we know that he didn't do it. He had an alibi. So he say. They pinged his phone where he said he was at, but that doesn't mean that he was where his phone was. He was miles and miles away in a whole nother state fishing. That's where they pinged him at. But that doesn't mean that's where he was. That doesn't mean that's where his body was. Also, his father, her husband's father, has the same walk of the person that was on camera during the footage. But how they ruled him out, although he took a bloody shirt to the cleaners right after the case, right after the murder. And he told them that he had to break up a fight between animals, dogs or something like that. That was where the blood came from on the shirt. And it was confirmed that it was animal blood. But even in that, I feel like the husband's father still could have had something to do with it. I mean, because even I can go and break up a fight with animals and get blood on my shirt. I can create a fight with animals and have blood on my shirt and take it to the cleaners as a way of as an alibi, and still go and unalive and kill a person and throw the clothes that I had on away, which was a uniform, and then go bring the clothes to the cleaners to get cleaned, and to give the impression that I know they're probably going to try to question me because it is blood, but I'm going to fool them because they're going to really think that this blood has something to do with her murder, but it's not, although I did murder her. But I'm going to throw them off with this blood. I'm going to reel them in and throw them off. I could get away with that. I ain't no murderer. But I know how they think. I'm an oracle. Nothing is going to get past me. I am an investigator for real. I have an investigative mind. And no, that doesn't mean I don't have Scorpio in the 3rd house. If you're trying to figure out my birth chart, I don't have Scorpio. That's an investigative mind. But I have an investigative mind. Missy Bevers, tell us what happened. Because even her being on the other side, she knows who did it now. Even if she couldn't see who did it in the 3D realm, she knows who did it by now, where she's at. Close us out, Missy. Venus and Pluto. Pluto is the energy of death. Venus is the energy of the partner, relationship. When you put the top planet in the house of the bottom, let's see what comes out. Venus that day was in Aries, the assassin, right? She's letting us know who did it. Watch this. Venus is in Aries. And Pluto is in Capricorn. Capricorn is right there in the 5th house, Leo's house, which is where Mars was in Leo in her chart. Let's check this chart out. When you put Aries in Capricorn's house, which is the 10th house, Aries in the 10th house brings us back to Missy's chart. Aries is right there in the 10th house. This is that card. Okay? Now, Cancer comes first. Cancer is home, family, and the mother. But this is also Missy's chart. Okay? Now, Capricorn, because this is Capricorn's house. You see Capricorn right there? In red? Like I told you, in red, that's whose house it is. In black, that's who's there. The assassin is there. Right? Where's Capricorn at? Capricorn is right here in the house of relationships. Now, this is the mother. Now, could this be the mother's husband? Which is the mother-in-law. This is the person in a relationship. This is somebody, the father-in-law. This is somebody who was in a relationship with the person that Missy was messing around with. That Venus came out in Aries. And Venus in Missy's chart is in Libra. Libra is right here in the 4th house. And this is a 4th house chart. This was a domestic, somebody, either in her home and family or that church home and family. This was domestic. They need to question that family. They need to question that family. They need to, being that it took us back to the family, I wasn't even going to use this. That's why I still had the rubber band around it. Let's pull a family member. Is there anybody in your family, Missy, that has anything to do with your death? Is there anybody in your family that has anything to do with your death? Is there anybody in your family that has anything to do with the death of Missy Bevers? The father better not fucking come out. Hold up now. Because the mother comes first. Hold up now. Hold up. Hold up. Because the mother comes first. The mother comes first. Whose mother is this? And the 8th house is the house of death. In the 8th house, the day she did it, the day it happened, is Aries, the assassin. Whose mother is this? Aquarius. Is this somebody's mother in her fitness group? Why did the mother come? The mother didn't come out for no reason. The mother did not come out for no reason. The mother didn't come out for no reason. Cancer comes first. The moon rules Cancer. The moon was in Virgo that day, right here in the 3rd house. And Missy's moon was in Scorpio, right here in the 5th house. Energy don't lie. Why the mother came out? Why did the mother come out? Elaborate on this mother, Missy. Elaborate on this mother. I normally don't pull from, I talk about it. But we're going to have to talk about this. Elaborate on this mother. Clarify the mother. clarify the mother. Clarify the mother. What? Her birth mother? No. Why did the birth card come out? In the fourth house. That's where the mother comes first. Birth. Mother. The birth mother of who? In the eighth house, you see Aquarius. And then Aquarius showed up in the sixth house of the work, the fitness class. But is somebody's mother of the fitness class? What's really going on? Okay, now this is just a recap so I don't have to do a part 2. Now, I ended the reading, but I had to log back on because I did some research. As soon as I got off, because I had to elaborate on this mother card and this birth because it came out too aligned, with the chart that was pulled from the cards that Missy Bevers pulled. So I have to follow this mother at birth. And I know this wasn't her birth mother. It couldn't have been. I'm not sure. I don't think her birth mother's still living. I'm not sure. But her mother, let me show you what I researched. This is going to make sense. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, I was on, because I do my research. I was on Reddit because I looked up Missy Beaver's mother to get some information on her mother because I haven't heard anything on her mother. So I looked up her mother and it took me to Reddit. It took me, her mother-in-law showed up. Now, her mother-in-law is involved. I didn't know that. Her mother-in-law. That would make sense too as this mother card because the mother came out in the house of the mother. The mother comes first, okay? And then the death in the eighth house is Aquarius, okay? That is definitely a mother-in-law. Aquarius does represent in-laws too, but it also represents the community. But the in-law aspect didn't mostly come from Aquarius. It came from the fact that if you look in the fourth house, you'll see the mother. This is the mother's house. In there, you'll see Libra. Libra is the relationship. So this is the relationship that she had with Brandon. Her significant other is Brandon. And the birth card came out in the fourth house where this Libra is. That's the birth mother of her spouse. Now, that's one way that I'm reading this mother card. Check this comment out that I looked up just now on Reddit. It says, Marsha. That's them being sarcastic. It says, my money is on the mother. Check this out. It's on her. Let me reiterate on who her is. She set her son up with Missy, having met her at work. This is somebody who is in the family. Somebody who knows Missy. This whole thread on Reddit is these members, these fitness people that know her. They're a part of Missy's class. I'm reading all of their comments. And this one stood out the most simply because I'm looking to clarify these two cards. Because the mother card and the birth card that came out totally synchronized caught me off guard. But there's a reason why this came out. And I think I found the reason. So one of the people in that circle said, my money is on her. She set her son up with Missy, having met her at work and thought she'd be a good match for her son. They have money in fuel business. Mom found out about problems and took it upon herself to remedy the problem. No one was getting in her way. She no doubt has controlled his life. The eighth house is the house of power and control. That's Scorpio's house. And remember, Scorpio did come out in the house of children. The sun can be there, but it also came out in the third house. The day she was dead, the day Missy was dead, it came out in the third house. This is where that mother was. Check this out. This is the mother of the romantic partner. Fifth house. That's Leo's house, the romance. And Mars was in Leo that day. Let's finish about this mother. No one was getting in her way. She no doubt has controlled his life and needs to be center stage. Leo energy. The mother came out in the fifth house. Center stage. Her overindulgence of making statements to the press and grandiose behavior screams narcissistic tendencies. She is the in-law. Let me blow that up. She is the in-law. This is somebody from that circle, Missy circle. She is the in-law. Remember, she said her last text from Missy said it was thanking her for making sure her husband got to a minor surgery procedure while she was away on a fitness trip to Austin. When she was on that trip, she had to be close by. Again, just my opinion, but I'm willing to say it out loud. That was a very strong opinion, whoever wrote that, because that helped clarify why this mother card came out. Yep. That's my reading. That's my reading on Missy Bevers, and I'm sticking to it. Yep. Something's going to unfold with this. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop my investigations. Y'all be blessed.